And bear in mind, let's just talk a little about Martin Luther King Jr. It's like he already has made the claim that it's the greatest demonstration in history, right? That's pretty hilarious. Like he's already building up the crowd like this is the greatest demonstration in history. That's quite a statement. And it makes people feel like they're part of something that hasn't really been proven yet. You know? And it's so sad looking at the blacks in 1962. They were so like family oriented and dressed in suits. Just so like great. And then you look at like you go to downtown Detroit now and they just took everything from these people. They're just that's why it's like I kind of want to analyze this because this was a real tipping point in American history, 1962, when this speech started changing stuff. And it really hurt the black community, like really bad. Like really, really, really bad. Let me find this. I have a dream. I have a dream. I'm excited to look at this. Martin. Documents, downloads. Downloads, gotta be downloads. I've opened it like this. And I left do it. Show in Finder. Yeah, show me in Finder. I'm gonna open it up with a different program. Let's see if maybe QuickTime is just not doing its job. It's not QuickTime at all. It's slow time. Do I have an alternative? I have not downloaded the alternatives yet. Normally I would have. Oh, this computer I would have. I'm not opening it with iTunes. That just sounds like madness. What about photos? Can I open this with photos? I think Apple's now laughing at me. I have a dream. All right. We'll get to the bottom of it. Even if I have to do even if I have to just do it line by line and read it, I'm down. Show in Finder. Open with. All right, let's try QuickTime.
I have the pleasure to present. I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation.
Now, see, because in reality, it would be the American Revolution. And bear in mind, he's also, think about how wrong that statement is. We had a civil war. We had a civil war and it ended slavery, but yet he thinks that this is the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of the nation. Understand just how fundamentally wrong that is. MLK was a racist. He was also just a sodomy connoisseur. And, he plagiarized his entire doctorate. It's proven. He stole his doctorate. The guy was not a moral man. And you might be like, yeah, that's Big Bear. I mean, who are you to judge? Everybody should be able to judge that Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't a good guy. He cheated on his wife and children nonstop with men, with women, with anyone he could get his grubby hands on. And he was working with communists during the Cold War. You know, I mean, the guy wasn't exactly who you think he is, but he's an incredible wizard. Let's analyze.
In what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation.
Already standing up.
50 years ago,
He's trying to sound like
a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation.
All right, I like it.
This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free.
Then how'd you end
100
up showing
years
up to
later,
Little March?
The life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later.
All right, I'm having a hard time being able to stop this thing after I start it. But what he's doing is so wizardry already. He's comparing segregation, which in most countries, segregation ends because of free association, where if one person isn't willing to do business with someone because of their race, another person will be willing to do that, and that other person will get more business. And so that way, actual racism, where if you make the factor someone's race and not someone being a good customer, that's a disadvantage in business and you would go out of business. The government used this as a way to increase its size and scope of how it could control the freedoms of people. So Martin Luther King Jr. has just metaphorically compared the shackles of slavery to what people were currently experiencing at the time, which is very, 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 very wizardry and manipulative. That isn't true at all. I'm not going to be able to play the speech because I'm telling you, there's something going on with my computer. Let me try it again. It's just open with QuickTime. Why does it open everything? Don't reopen. Don't reopen. I just want one. I just want this wizard.
Came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity.
Like, he's also singing. And I'm not trying to just be a troll here. I respect the man. He stood up for what he believed in. He died for what he believed in. He was smart. He was articulate. He, wonderful speaker. And obviously segregation was wrong, but that was a government program, and they just replaced it with another government program that was even more controlling, but people wouldn't know it for a long time. It's insane. All right, let's keep going. Spinning wheel. This is brutal. I have the shackles of Apple that will not let me be free. They will not let me view a video like others who have the privilege of having more gigs of RAM from the Black Hills of Georgia. All right, it opens every video. I guarantee there's some like know-it-alls in the chat right now being like, Big Bear, all you have to do is hit these 85 buttons and then it's fine. Just, it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like this. This isn't even close. Oh yeah, Mandela was a total piece of shit. Guy was a terrorist who blew up children where they slept. And people were supposed to defend that guy because he's black. Such bullshit. I have like I so don't look down on black people to the point where I don't feel I have to like their fucking false idols. I know that my race doesn't make me inherently better than a black man. And that is why I don't treat them like fucking children. You know? I mean, they make fun of my guy, Hitler. All right, here we go. A little more.
This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope.
Bear in mind, that's implying that they're living in a mountain of despair. One thing I've noticed with a lot of these power-hungry, charismatic orgy guys is they're always trying to make people feel like they're having a horrible life. That's in the Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. Like, what these people do is they make people think that they're being oppressed and that their life is terrible and that they have to rise up and get out of that life. Black people had a higher standard of living. They were more likely to be married with children than white people. Do you understand that their ratio of single mothers to married mothers was, you're more likely to be divorced if you're white. People can't imagine, and that's one reason why real history isn't taught in schools, because you can't teach the reality of American history and still think these people are doing anything good. Like, the black family was more intact in 1962 than it is now. In fact, it's had an atomic bomb of government nonsense that just destroyed it. Like, if you look at the curve of the average black American's income, likelihood of going to college, likelihood of all this stuff, it was just exponentially going up, especially because of the wars, because the GI Bill and all that stuff. It stops right around this time and plummets. And this open border, illegal Mexican nonsense, the number one group it hurts are black males. And they have like, what, 13, 14% likelihood of being married with, like, their children. Like, a black baby has a 13% chance of having their parents being married. Back here, it was like 80. The crime rate in the 40s of black people was equal to Irish and Italians. Now it's insanely higher. Like, mind-blowing. So when you look back at this era of like something, like, people want to pretend that it's a good thing what happened. This was the atomic bomb for black families this time. And you can call me racist all day long. You think that shit works on me? I'm a voice of non-racism. Like, racism is saying that you can't critique the time statistically in the curve of black wealth and prosperity when things plateaued and then plummeted, and why. This guy is trying to make people think that they're living in a world of despair and shackles. And what did they get? Like, what end result did they get because of this movement? They got it all taken. All of it got taken away. They now live in a vote plantation. As President Johnson said, these niggers will be voting Democrat for 200 years. They're called vote plantations. They're by design.
Faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together.
Pray together. Do you understand what happened to faith in America after this whole run? Do you think a guy prays? Do you think Martin Luther King Jr. prayed before he would have homosexual orgies? Like, before, during, and after this speech? Pray together. Do you think that, like, right now in America, black people and white people are currently praying together? Let's continue. Oh, we got the spinning wheel. It's all right. I've summed it up to the end here. I'll figure this out. Hang on. People are gonna text me after watching this and go, "I am worried about you, Owen. How on earth?" And it's never about my point. It's never the point I make. It's never like Martin Luther King Jr. did great stuff for the black community. It's never that. It's always, how could you do that and think that you're going to be invited on more of these shows? I don't give a fuck. There's already so many people that my fucking QuickTime doesn't work.
For freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day.
Free one day. Okay, they're already living in America. They're already being able to protest their own government. Free. People in gulags were more free than this asshole. Because they were free up here. They didn't believe they were in shackles. That's my whole point about freedom right now and looking at the government and spiraling and all this stuff. It's like, freedom's here. Freedom's here. Freedom's the way you live, the way you talk. I'm free because I can say what I believe. He's free. No one's arresting this asshole. You know, he's trying to make people feel like they aren't free. All right, I have to restart this because the spinning wheel of nonsense has happened because I have not banned enough people. Big Bear, you're going to be kicked off YouTube and you're going to lose so much money. I've been doing so well lately. I can pay my bills for like months now. People don't understand, like, that's freedom. We'll get to this, all right?
This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, "My country, tears of thee."
By the way, we lost all of it.
The land of liberty of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. From every mountainside. Let freedom ring.
30 more seconds. Then we'll go over it.
When we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, "Free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last."
Okay, so that's insane. That's globalism. He's setting up globalism. That's insane. He's like, okay, I don't even know where to begin. We're Jews and you might as well go, Israelis and Palestinians will hold hands and sing, "Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last." It's, oh, and this is painful to watch. Ace Spade, what do you mean by that? Are you making fun of me right now? Or King? Because I want to ban you so bad, but I don't want to do it to the wrong person. He's saying that he's giving people a false image of what's possible. You can also see this in the Denver airport, except they actually show the mural extends to the genocide. But ban him. Yeah, but I don't know if he's talking about me. I try to be a kind dictator. BB, a lot of trolls here. Let me see him. Yeah, I mean, we'll ban all of them. Because what I'm saying is accurate as fuck. At that point, the average black person made more money, was more likely to be married with a child, more likely to own a home, more likely. Dude, globalism took it all. And this dude is like, Jews and Gentiles, black and white, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Okay, people don't even believe in God anymore because globalism can't have God, because when you're importing Muslims and fucking all these people, you can't agree on a God, you have to bring out Jordan Peterson to be like, clean your room, eh? It's all bullshit. This dude was saying whatever he could to just get people to suck his cock and give him money. They worship the federal government. Yeah. MLK was a rump ranger. Yeah, dude. Big time. Big time. And anybody that says it's racist to criticize a black man, you want to know what that is? That's you thinking that black people are animals. Because to think that you can't criticize someone who has statues, like there's a street where people sell crack in every city in America named after that guy. That guy's status is way above mine. Way above mine. So to think that me, a lowly comedian sitting next to a burnt bike, holding on to a big dead bear who hates Jews, CIA, to think that I can't criticize a black man of infinitely more status than me means you think that I am better than him because I'm white. That's madness. All right, green is high. Straight white men get the blame for everything. Now they want. Well, they took it all. They took it all. Like that shit. What he did is he made black people feel like the world was against them, that everyone was against them. The federal government made segregation. You understand that? Do I believe in segregation? Obviously not. That sounds like madness to me, personally. The federal government also had the law of the Fugitive Slave Act, where they forced white people, only 3% of the white population in the South owned slaves, 70% of the Jewish population in the South owned slaves. Odd little fact. 3% owned slaves of all white people. Most white people in the South were sharecroppers. I'm related to some of them. So they had a law where if one of these rich people had a slave escape, they would make people go hunt them down and bring them back. They didn't want to do that shit. That wasn't for white people. It was for the very, very small amount of people who own slaves. And so to make this seem like a black-white thing is nonsense. I am happy tonight. I am here from the snow-capped mountains of Colorado. By the way, it's Colorado. There's literally an O at the end. Why would you say A? Colorado? No one says Colorado. It's Colorado. That's why that whole potato song, anyone who says potato, like just bam,